The Chiefs' passing game looked fantastic in their Christmas Day win against the Steelers. This might have been the passing game's best performance since Week 1 against the Ravens, and really first half of Week 1 against the Ravens, where they really looked like they were clicking. They've gone through a lot of ups and downs, a lot of injuries, losing Rashee Rice, the offensive line play being up and down, and it really seems like things are coming together just in time for the stretch run through the playoffs. So let's take a look at some of the big passing plays or important passing plays from this game and try to look at what happened. In what ways was the passing game looking good and how that projects going forward into the playoffs. So let's start here with 9:23 to go in the first quarter. The Chiefs have a 2nd and 4 at the Steelers' 7-yard line. And it's a 0-0 game right here. This is the Chiefs' first possession of the game. So let's take a look at the play, and then we'll break down what happens. We got Mahomes in the gun with Worthy to his left, and he flips it out in the flat to Worthy for a touchdown. So how did this play happen? The Chiefs come out, and they're actually lined up in 12 personnel. The running back is here, Isaiah Pacheco, and the 2 tight ends, Travis Kelsey and Noah Gray, make it 12 personnel. They've got 2 wide receivers. Hollywood Brown is lined up here, and this is Xavier Worthy. The Steelers are running kind of a pattern match concept on defense. They've got 1 deep defender here, and everybody else is kind of matching receiver routes, playing kind of a hybrid zone man scheme, kind of general zone principles, but with the ability to run with receivers depending on what the route combination is. So what the Chiefs do is they run a concept that should be very familiar to Chiefs fans. They love to run this. They ran it with Jerick McKinnon a bunch when he was their running back. They have run it with P. Ryan a couple times already this year. They like to try to get out of the backfield going in one direction and have routes going the other direction to try to draw defenders away. This is typically most successful against man coverage, right? Because you're taking man defenders away from the play, and you're hopefully making defenders run across each other as the defender that's guarding the running back has to go out while the defenders of these receivers have to come in. So you're creating traffic. In this case, the Steelers aren't playing pure man, so this isn't as effective of a strategy. On the right side, what they do is they have Hollywood running a drag, and they have Pacheco going toward the corner. But really, the crux of the concept is this. Let's run these guys in, get him out, and see if we can't get him to the edge. And so as Mahomes takes the snap, you see that Minka gets frozen briefly by these routes coming up at him. He's trying to check, he's typically not used to worrying about a receiver being in the backfield. And one wonders if he noticed at the snap that Xavier Worthy was the guy in the backfield. If you realize that this is the guy that's that fast, you really want to make sure you stay outside of him because you don't want to get beat to the edge. He's probably not as worried about that if that's Kareem Hunt or Isaiah Pacheco back there. So one wonders if Minka didn't completely realize that Worthy was the guy back there. And him being frozen by these routes coming in just a little bit is all that Xavier Worthy needed to get out. And once Worthy is even or outside of you, you're not going to beat him to the pylon. That was enough. Mahomes saw that he had what he needed, got the ball out quickly, and Worthy just beat Minka to the pylon. This is a situation where when you have a guy like Xavier Worthy going out, you can't get beat to the flat. And I think Minka is such a great athlete that he's used to most people being able to, when there's, in most cases, he's able to catch up to a receiver and beat them to a spot. But not this receiver. And unfortunately for Minka, didn't get out there fast enough, and Worthy got to the end zone. So just nice little play design, concept that Chiefs run all the time. It wasn't even against the primary look you run it against. This wasn't a pure man defense. But the wrinkle being that they put Worthy back here in the backfield instead of a running back, and it worked to perfection. As you see, Minka, just a couple steps. It's not a lot that you have to be held inside for Worthy to be able to beat you outside. It was just a little bit, and that was enough for Worthy to get outside of him, get in for the touchdown, and the Chiefs go up 7-0. Actually, they ended up going up 6-0 because Worthy got an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty that moved the extra point back, and Butker missed the extra point. So the Chiefs went up 6-0 in the early stages of the game. So we jump ahead to 5:59 to go in the first quarter. The Chiefs are up 6-0, and they've got the ball back, but they are in a 3rd and 11 situation at their own 20-yard line. So let's take a look at the play, and then we'll break down what happened. We've got Mahomes in empty in the shotgun. He takes a snap and drops back. He wants to bail right and doesn't, ends up coming back left and flipping one to Samaje Perine for the first down. Gains about 13 or 14 yards. So let's see how that happened. All right, so the Chiefs come out and they are lined up in 11 personnel. The running back is here, Samaje Perine. The tight end is here, Travis Kelsey. The wide receivers are Xavier Worthy, Hollywood Brown, and DeAndre Hopkins. The Steelers are going to play cover one man here. They're going to have Minkah Fitzpatrick as the deep safety. And everybody else is going to be manned up. You have man-to-man coverage here, man-to-man coverage here, man-to-man coverage here. Queen is responsible for Perine, and then man-to-man coverage here. The extra defender that could be the underneath robber is Peyton Wilson here, and he's going to blitz. So they send 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They're manned up across the board, and Minkah Fitzpatrick is the deep safety. What the Chiefs do in their route combination, they have Hopkins running a corner pattern. Hollywood Brown runs a post. Worthy runs a deep out. And then they have Kelsey and Perine chipping and then running out into the flats. Chip, run out into the flats to help with the protection. So long developing route combination because the Chiefs need 11 yards on 3rd down. So Mahomes hits the back of his drop and he starts drifting to his right immediately. And at that point, as he's drifting to his right, he's got Larry Ogunjobi kind of coming around, which forces him to step up. He's trying to buy enough time for these routes to develop. So he's stepping up and he's thinking about, if you see him kind of getting ready to unload, he's thinking about throwing this post to Hollywood Brown is what it looks like. It's a good thing he didn't do it because Minkah Fitzpatrick is over here trying to cover it. So he reconsiders right here. He's thinking about throwing that post right there. Says, no, that's not a good idea. And he sees the B gap right here open up between Joe Thuney, his tackle, and Mike Caliendo, his guard. And so he starts to step up through the B gap to see. One thing that Mahomes does a lot, and I think people mistake this for being happy feet sometimes. Mahomes understands, okay, if the concept doesn't immediately get something open, and in this case it's man coverage, though he'll do it against zone for different reasons that we can get into in a minute. But with man coverage, defenders are not looking back at him. And so he knows his legs are a weapon to create, either by finding a lane to scramble or by getting defenders to move and creating passing windows. So he's not somebody that'll just like hang out in the pocket. You know, he might in situations where he feels like bailing will allow the rush to get to him more easily. But otherwise, he likes to create with his legs to give him more opportunities to pass too. So here in this situation, I don't think he's bailing because he feels any pressure. I think he slid right and then slid back into the pocket because he felt this from the outside. But I think he steps up through the B gap just because he's trying to create. So he comes up through the B gap, and seeing him come, Patrick Queen ends up tossing Samaje Perine to the ground. Right there. And so he ultimately is called for a holding penalty that would be declined. But Queen saw Mahomes approaching the line of scrimmage and makes a move to try to come after Mahomes. He chucks Perine. And at that moment, if you notice, Perine is still on the ground rolling. Mahomes flips it to him. Like he decides to make a backhanded flip right here. And you look, Samaje Perine is still on the ground. And this is the part of it that I think is not brought up enough. But look at how much air Mahomes gets under this throw. He doesn't just kind of flip it straight, more on a line. he flips it with a little bit of arc. And I think that's completely intentional because it gives Pirine enough time to get up. Like the ball's in the air long enough that Pirine can get up, locate it, and dive down for it. If this ball had been chucked with more force and not with that trajectory, see the arc that gets put on this ball, if not with that arc, I don't think Pirine has enough time to get up and get this ball. And to me, those little things are the kind of added genius. Everything, the idea to make this throw while he's on the ground is incredible, but then to float it enough that he's got the time that he can get under it and catch it, that's the next level of genius that I think is so impressive. And Mahomes again comes through on an incredible third down. So we can see it from his perspective. He kind of shifted over to the right. I think at this point he's really just trying to buy time because he's got long developing routes. But then he sees that Ogunjobi's coming around the edge, having... I don't know. This doesn't look like it was actually a stunt. I think Ogunjobi just started rushing outside. And then here's Mahomes winding up, and he's thinking about throwing that post to Brown. Probably sees Minkah, decides it's a bad idea, then comes up and bails. And right here, look at what is happening when he decides to flip this ball. He knows Queen is coming. He knows Pirine's going to be open, but Pirine's on the ground. He's flipping this ball, and Pirine's still trying to get up. And so that little bit of arc on the throw is everything. That little time that the ball's in the air that gets Pirine the ability to catch this ball. He gets up and locates it and then falls forward to get it. Incredible. Big first down for the Chiefs. They keep the chains moving. Now let's go to the next play. Right after that Pirine catch, we're at 5:34 to go in the first quarter. The Chiefs now have 1st and 10 at their own 34-yard line. And it is still a 6-0 lead for the Chiefs. So let's take a look at this play, and then we'll break it down. Mahomes is in the shotgun with Kareem Hunt to his right. He's got 2 on each side of him. He drops back, steps up, and launches a pass down the right side to Justin Watson, who brings it in ultimately for a gain of 49 yards and a huge field shifting play for the Chiefs. So let's take a look at how it happened. The Chiefs come out in 11 personnel. There's one running back, that's Kareem Hunt, and their tight end is Travis Kelsey. So they end up adjusting and motioning Kelsey in tight. The Steelers here are going to play cover 1 man. Their deep safety will be here. And this looks like Kelsey, I believe. And instead of having Minkah come down and play the robber, they're going to have Minkah play man-to-man against Xavier Worthy because they're going to blitz Deshaun Elliott off the edge. So they're rushing 4. 1, 2, 3. They're rushing 5. So with the extra rusher, they don't have somebody to be an underneath defender. Everybody else has to be manned up because you have Kelsey deep. So with the 5 eligible receivers, you need everybody else accounting for somebody. So what the Chiefs do with their route combination, they're going to have Hollywood Brown run a deep crosser. They're going to have Worthy run the deep crosser the other way. And they have Watson go long. And Travis Kelsey, it looks like the Chiefs were ready for the slot blitz. Travis Kelsey comes across the formation and actually blocks. He picks up Elliott as part of the pass protection here. So as we watch this unfold, look at Kelsey come in and take Elliott to give Mahomes time for a shot play, and he neutralizes this blitz. Then you see Worthy is coming across the field here with man coverage. Brown is coming across the field there. And Watson's coming up the sideline. And Mahomes arcs the deep ball down to Watson, who catches it cleanly. Good separation there. And comes down about to the 16-yard line. So, what's the best part about this play? Well, you might say the best part about this play is that the Chiefs completed a deep ball and they were on the same page, and I can't argue with that. But the other thing is, as Mahomes is readying to throw this ball right here, he has got options. Watson has some separation. He can lay it out, which he did. Look at Worthy. Worthy's open coming this way, and Brown has a step too coming this way. It is nice that in these man coverage situations now, the Chiefs have options that are getting open. Watson typically is going to be kind of a down the field guy as far as when he's able to get open. It's usually deep routes and corner routes. But Worthy and Brown are able to get open on a variety of routes, and it's nice to see you have a situation here where Mahomes kind of had all three as potential options. He threw it to Watson. I love that their timing was good. Mahomes seemed a little more intentional on this throw about getting some air under it so Watson could just run it down, which he did, and they got a big gain on the play. So now let's look at it from Mahomes' perspective. He drops back, and he initially kind of is looking down the field, kind of looking over at his crossers, and then peeks over to Watson as he steps up and decides to launch this based on his position. But look at it from his perspective here. As Hollywood's making his break, look at that separation. Hollywood's coming open. Worthy has the leverage coming this way too. Worthy's coming open. I mean, there are options here. This is so different from the film we're used to seeing from last year and earlier, kind of the middle part of this year, where everyone seems so tightly covered. Suddenly it's like guys are running open. And Watson was one of them. Perfectly placed ball. Good job by Watson running it down. And the Chiefs get a big gain and get into the red zone. Now we continue on with the same drive. It's still 6-0 Chiefs. There are 4 minutes to go in the first quarter, and the Chiefs are faced with a 3rd and 4 at about the Steelers' 11-yard line. So let's watch this play through, and then we can break down what happens. Mahomes is in the gun with P. Ryan to his left. He's got Kelsey isolated on the left side of the formation. He's got 3 wide on the right side. Drops back and throws a corner pattern to Justin Watson in the end zone for a touchdown. All right, so let's get back here. As we mentioned, P. Ryan is the running back. Kelsey is the tight end. That's 11 personnel with 1 running back and 1 tight end. Wide receivers are Xavier Worthy, Justin Watson, and DeAndre Hopkins. The Steelers come out here with 2 linebackers and a nickel formation. And they've got 1 deep safety, Minkah Fitzpatrick. They're playing cover 1 with Patrick Queen being their underneath defender and Minkah Fitzpatrick being the deep guy. The Chiefs route combination, they are going to run Xavier Worthy on an out. They're going to run DeAndre Hopkins a fade. And then they're going to have Justin Watson run a corner pattern here. Kelsey kind of comes out and runs a little hitch over here as the ISO guy. But Mahomes is reading out the front side, this route combination first. And really the idea here with this route combination is to try to create a gap for Justin Watson running the corner so that the out route underneath, and if you notice, Hopkins slow plays this fade. He doesn't get it. He doesn't like come out like his hair is on fire. Well, let's watch Hopkins really quickly here on his release. So when Hopkins comes up, he's kind of taking it a little bit slow, and that's intentional because you don't want this defender to be able to fall back onto Watson's corner route. So the faster Hopkins gets up there, the more depth this corner has and the more chance he has of getting in the way of this corner route. So it's important that Hopkins kind of slow plays this. And you see Worthy's defender occupied underneath, Hopkins defender occupied here. Then there's no one behind that prevents Justin Watson from making this catch on the corner route. The safety is still here in the middle of the field. He's not working over the top of this corner route. So here you see it. Mahomes sees it, and look at where Mahomes decides to throw it. He's deciding to throw now as Watson's here. So he's anticipating the break outside. He's putting it on a spot. And he really does put it on a spot. It's like a missile, just a straight line throw right in stride. Look at the anticipation that he throws this with, because he's winding up to throw now. He's ready to put it on a spot over here on a line, and that's what he does. He was really feeling it in this game as far as trusting what he was seeing and throwing with his chest, as Matthew Lane of Kansas City Sports Network would say. Just fired that in there for a touchdown. But I think this slow play, especially here by Hopkins, was really intentional to make sure that there was room for this ball to get in. It wasn't that big of a window, but Mahomes got it in there, and the Chiefs got a touchdown. You can see it here from the end zone view. Mahomes drops back, and he's reading the right side entirely, right? He's not even looking backside to Kelsey as the ISO guy. He sees the chance for that corner pattern, throws with anticipation, and look at that, just fires it in there. It's not like the window was huge. He didn't have a ton of room to miss, but hits it perfectly in stride. Watson catches the touchdown, and the Chiefs go up 13-0 in the first quarter. Now let's move ahead to 9:07 to go in the second quarter. At this point, the Chiefs are up 13-7, and they have a 1st and 10 at about their own 42-yard line. Let's take a look at this play, and then let's break it down. Mahomes is in the shotgun. He's got 2 wide receivers to his left, Pacheco's to his right. Drops back, steps up in the pocket, and throws it left to Hollywood Brown for a first down. Looks like a gain of about 13. So let's take a look at what went into this play. Chiefs are in 12 personnel. Their one running back is Pacheco here. Tight ends are Travis Kelsey and then Noah Gray. So one running back and 2 tight ends gets you 12 personnel. They've got Xavier Worthy and Hollywood Brown as the 2 wide receivers. The Steelers are running a staple of theirs. They're running a cover 3 zone. So Dante Jackson, the safety here. Who is that? Hard to see right here. It's Kazee. Okay, so Dante Jackson, Kazee, and this looks like Pierre over here are the responsible for deep thirds. And they've got 4 guys playing underneath zones right here. So the Chiefs route combination against this, they're going to have Kelsey is going to come up and sit in deeper. And then Gray is going to help with blocking and then leak out late underneath. So they're kind of high-lowing the underneath defenders here in the zone. And on this side, Hollywood Brown is going to come in side release and then come back to the outside, whereas Worthy's going to do the opposite. He's going to outside release and then come back inside. So if you watch the route combinations here, first thing to note is with these 2 speedsters on the side here, look at how deep Dante Jackson gets very quickly here. He drops fast, and look how deep Kazee is as well. Both of them really respect the Chiefs' speed, so you see a lot of depth by the deep defenders in the cover 3. And then you look at Brown coming in, and then as he comes back, there's a huge void here created by this depth. And one way to maintain that void is to make sure you bring a receiver out into the flat, which means that the flat defender can't sink too far, right? So if you get a lot of depth here, that can be made up for by Deshaun Elliott dropping and staying over this, being able to drop in front of this route. But if you bring out a flat defender, especially on first down, then he's going to have to, he can't cheat too far back. He's going to have to honor that flat defender, which maintains then this big gap between the deep defenders and the shallow defenders. Additionally, Worthy kind of crossing over, you can tell Patrick Queen kind of feels that. Either that, now that I think about it, he might feel Worthy crossing over less and see Mahomes stepping up. And so you see him kind of shift over to his left and forward, which creates an even bigger passing window for Mahomes. Not that he needed it in this particular play. And Mahomes, again, he decides to throw this like right here as Brown is breaking. He sees the void, sees Brown going to it, and releases the ball here. This is nice to see these route combinations working against zone. Again, These players have good feels for the zone. We knew Kelsey and Gray were good at finding areas. And you can see the attention being drawn by Kelsey over here. That helps too, right? So when the defenders aren't necessarily evenly spaced, when you have someone that's really devoting a ton of attention underneath to Kelsey, Queen is a little bit over. So there's just a lot more room out here based on how the defenders are distributed and how much they're worried about Travis Kelsey. So ultimately, the two things, the speed that causes these guys to drop, I should say three things. The flat, which causes Elliott to honor it and not be able to drop back. And then Kelsey, who draws attention this way, all combined to create a huge void here. And Mahomes does a great job of quickly getting the ball in there. And it's kind of hard to see from this angle. We'll look in from the end zone view, but Mahomes actually, he hits the back of this drop. He's stepping forward and he doesn't ever really like turn his body to make this throw across his body because he's throwing from here to there, but he's facing this way. So he kind of throws it across his body over that way, just probably to get the throw off really quickly. But you can see it from the end zone view. It's actually quite a phenomenal throw. So he drops back, he's stepping up, and he sees he's got him open now. And look at that throw. Like, he's stepping forward. He doesn't turn his body. He's literally parallel to the yard marker, his body, the way that his shoulders are parallel to the yard marker, and he's throwing that way. I mean, that's a really, really hard throw, and he puts it right on the money. That is no joke right there. That's an incredible throw from Mahomes. Right on the money for a first down. You can really see Mahomes was wheeling and dealing in this one. Now we pick things up with 13:49 to go in the third quarter. The Chiefs are up 13-7, and they have a 2nd and 5 at the Steelers' 47-yard line. Now let's take a look at the play that ensues. We've got Mahomes under center. He's got 2 to his left, 2 to his right. He fakes the handoff to Pacheco and then flips it to Worthy, who's able to turn the corner and get about 21 yards for a first down before being pushed out of bounds by Deshaun Elliott. So let's take a look at what the Chiefs did here. Now, they come out in 11 personnel. One running back is Pacheco. Their tight end is Travis Kelsey here. The 3 wide receivers are DeAndre Hopkins, Xavier Worthy, and Juju Smith-Schuster. Now, the Steelers are going to run kind of a cover 3 principal blitz. So they're going to send all 5 here, which leaves them with 6 in the back. So Minka is going to come down to the middle. So Queen ends up being more responsible for the left side, Wilson for the right, and then these 3 are your deep 3. So you kind of end up with 3 back and then 3 shallow. He comes down, he comes here, and then 5 coming. What the Chiefs do is out of the under center look, they move the line to the right and leave Highsmith unblocked because this is a play action, a stretch play to this side. At the same time, as they run the play action, they have Xavier Worthy coming underneath the formation, and he actually slips out the C gap and comes across, and he's the primary option. Juju Smith-Schuster and DeAndre Hopkins both run kind of up and out routes. An out route for Juju Smith-Schuster, a little more of a dig for DeAndre Hopkins. But Worthy comes and leaks out. On this play, to complicate matters, Highsmith here on the edge isn't fooled by the play fake whatsoever, and he just takes a straight line path to Mahomes, much akin to what we see Karlaftis do when he reads a bootleg well. So Mahomes doesn't have a ton of time to make this play. He turns, he sees Worthy escaping, and he has to float a ball for Worthy to run under, and it's just perfect. Everything about it is perfect. Again, just like what happened to Minka, Peyton Wilson, who's responsible for the flat, is just lets Worthy get outside of him, and that is always going to be a problem. Wilson has even more of an excuse, though, because he's coming in seeing the run fake, and he's reacting to the play action. The play action dragged him farther inside than he should have been, and he's not able to correct and lets Worthy outside of him, and then the race is lost. And the pass is perfect. Worthy runs underneath it and is able to break a tackle and ultimately get a 21-yard gain. Very nice schematically from the Chiefs. So see here how much this looks like a run. We're going to leave Highsmith unblocked, and we're going to block down. Watch the line. And then you can see these steps by Wilson are all that the Chiefs need from the play action. They get Wilson inside, and look, Worthy's already got him beat to the sideline. Once Worthy's ahead of you, you're gone. Mahomes lofts this throw perfectly for Worthy to run underneath it, and then he's just got to turn the corner and gets a big gain. The last thing I will note on this play is Travis Kelsey blocks Cam Hayward on this play. This has been a great blocking season from Kelsey, who's always been a much better blocker than he gets credit for. The arguments about blocking drive me crazy, and you can hear I've brought them up on other forums on this channel, both on the podcast and on film reviews. But I think trying to say that Kittle was a better tight end than Kelsey because of blocking, or even Gronk just because of blocking, is a ridiculous argument to me. And I'm sure I'll explain it at some point later in one of the film reviews. It's another topic for another day. Great play to Worthy. Big first down. The Chiefs offense working in scripted plays, working in ad-lib plays, working by just simple play design, getting open. It's all working in so many different ways for the Chiefs passing game. Now at 4:12 to go in the third quarter. The Chiefs at this point are up 16-10, and they have the ball with a 2nd and 14 at about their 19-yard line. Let's take a look at this play, and then we'll break it down. We've got Mahomes in the shotgun with Kareem Hunt to his right. He's got 2 receivers to the left, 2 to the right. Kelsey comes in tight. He takes the snap and throws a quick pass to Marquise Brown. Hollywood Brown gets about 17 yards and a first down on 2nd and 14. So this is the part of the game when the Chiefs suddenly started running a lot of RPOs. Clearly, Andy Reid saw something and felt like he had a weakness to exploit and continued spamming it over and over again. This will be the play that we show that's kind of representative of a lot of plays, and they ran a very similar concept over and over called the glance RPO concept. So let's just break down what that concept is and how they used it here. So the basic premise of the glance RPO is that you're going to fake the run, or, it's not necessarily a fake. You're going to have the option, a run option here at the mesh point, and you're essentially reading just one player. And it's the player sitting underneath the slant route that you're going to run. So they've got Hollywood Brown here on a slant route, and the defender that could fall underneath that route is Peyton Wilson. So this is just a read of Peyton Wilson on this play for Patrick Mahomes. He's going to bring the ball into Kareem Hunt here and watch Peyton Wilson. If Wilson comes in to fit the run, it looks like he's actually blitzing on this play. But basically, if he's vacating the spot underneath Hollywood, this is a throw. If Wilson had stayed back, then you hand this ball off to Hunt and let him go. So in this play, Peyton Wilson comes, so Mahomes keeps it and just throws to the spot that he vacated. He gets it in quickly before Patrick Queen can fill it, fires it in quickly, and Brown remains elusive after the catch and manages to get 17 yards. So let's watch it again from this viewpoint. And again, literally Mahomes is just reading this guy. Look at him. Look up. He's just reading Wilson. As he sees that Wilson's going, he knows he's not handing this ball off. He's keeping it, gets it out quickly, and that timing is everything to hit that window as Queen is trying to come across. He hits that window right there. Brown gets a first down. The Chiefs used this glance RPO concept multiple times through the second half, especially late third quarter into fourth quarter, to move the ball. They definitely felt good about this, and you can see why. It was extremely successful for them, and they ended up scoring 13 points in the fourth quarter. We pick things up with 2:09 to go in the third quarter. The Chiefs are still up 16-10, and the Chiefs have a 2nd and 6 at the Steelers' 43-yard line. Mahomes lined up in the gun. Let's take a look at what happens on this play, and then we'll break it down. He's got 3 receivers to the left, 1 to the right. Takes the snap, and the Steelers are blitzing. He gets a quick pass off to Kelsey, fakes a lateral over to DeAndre Hopkins, and ends up gaining about 19 yards. So let's see what happened on this play. The Chiefs come out here in 11 personnel. 1 running back is Kareem Hunt. 1 tight end is Travis Kelsey. They've got Xavier Worthy, DeAndre Hopkins, and Justin Watson as their wide receivers. The Steelers are running a fairly well-disguised cover 0 blitz. So what they're actually going to do at the snap, so they have their 4 rushers, and then they're going to blitz off the slot, and they're going to blitz Patrick Queen. What that ends up resulting in then is just man coverage across the board. You got man here, man here, man here, man here. And the tough one is that Elliott is responsible for Travis Kelsey, but he's coming from the other side of the formation. What the Chiefs do is they've got Worthy going deep, Hopkins running an out route. Kelsey, we won't really know exactly what route he's supposed to run, but we'll see that in a minute. Watson runs a slant, and Hunt runs a flat behind the slant. So the reason why we don't know what route Kelsey has to run is that Kelsey and Mahomes quickly identify the cover 0, and Elliott, being the one responsible for Kelsey, has way too much ground to cover to be able to get to him immediately. So Kelsey just comes and sits completely uncovered, and Mahomes was ready for it. Look, the ball's already out of his hands. Mahomes decided to throw that ball about now, as Kelsey's just turning. So comes and sits, and he makes a catch with, nobody anywhere near him. I think ideally for the Steelers, at least for the beginning of this play, while Elliott's trying to figure things out, Minkah could have tried to stay over both of these routes. But when Hopkins ran an out here, Minkah decided to charge down on it right here. And that just left Kelsey wide open. And Elliott is not nearly close enough to impact him. So, I like the idea of changing things up. You go for the different blitz, the exotic blitz. But if you're going to go cover 0, I wouldn't make it such that the person responsible, because everybody else is covered. The person that's uncovered ends up being Travis Kelsey because the only other defender is coming off of the opposite side of the formation. Not sure that's, if you get yourself set up in that defensive scheme, you might change the play at that point because Mahomes and Kelsey are just on the same page. They get that quickly, and Hopkins was there for the lateral, and I feel like Hopkins was ready for this. So this might be something. We've seen Kelsey do it to P. Ryan. He did it to Gray last year. He did it to Tony on a play that came back. But, if Kelsey decided to make this throw, toss it back to Hopkins, who knows what he would have been able to do if Worthy could have made a nice block. So that's something we can look out for. Kelsey is known to be interested in lateraling it. So now from Mahomes' perspective, he takes the snap and immediately is looking for Kelsey. He IDs the cover 0. They both do. They just get it out quickly. This is 2 guys that know what they're doing, and you just can't set up in a situation where Kelsey's going to have that much room off the line. Mahomes and Kelsey are going to connect every time. If you're schematically in that position, it's time to reconsider the play. Now we pick things up with 13:26 to go in the game. Chiefs are up 22-10 at this point, and they're faced with a 2nd and 8 at about the Steelers' 32-yard line. So let's take a look at this play, and then we'll break it down. Mahomes in the shotgun. He's got Gray motioning over from the right side to the left side of the formation. Takes a snap, throws it to Kelsey over the middle, and Kelsey's got room to run. He cuts back and ends up getting down to about the 12-yard line into the red zone with a first down for the Chiefs. So let's break down what happens on this play here. The Chiefs are in 12 personnel. That's one running back, Kareem Hunt. Their tight ends are Noah Gray and Travis Kelsey. And the wide receivers are DeAndre Hopkins and Xavier Worthy. The Steelers are running a cover one man scheme. You can see they've got Minkah Fitzpatrick here as the deep safety. And they end up rushing 5. So the guy that would have been the underneath guy, they have Elliott blitzing. So when you have one deep safety and you're rushing 5, that means that everybody else is in man coverage. You don't have anybody to be playing an underneath zone. So Elliott's going to blitz. Everybody else is manned up. And so, again, we got one deep safety. Here's the man responsibility in this alignment. Got man to man, man to man. And then you've got Queen responsible for Hunt. And Landon Roberts responsible for Noah Gray since Elliott is blitzing. And then you're manned up over here. So the key that I want you to pay attention to is Landon Roberts has Gray, Patrick Queen has Kareem Hunt, and the slot corner over here has Travis Kelsey. Now, Gray motions over. And so now there's some communication on the second level. But Mahomes snaps it just as Gray comes over and gets set. So now Roberts, Queen, and the slot corner here, who's, I'm not sure who that is actually, are communicating here. And there's some degree of miscommunication. It seems pretty clear that at the beginning, Queen was going to take Hunt, Roberts was going to take Gray. Now, with the shift here, it's unclear what ended up changing, because what happens is the slot corner takes Gray, both Queen and Roberts go with Hunt, and Kelsey just comes wide open. So the route combination is Worthy and Hopkins go deep. Gray is going to run like a deeper over, Kelsey is going to run the shallow level on that, and Hunt is going to run up the seam. So somehow the shift, Gray shifting over here and them communicating led to some error here, because the slot corner clearly knows he's coming with Gray, but these two both go with Hunt, and look at Kelsey running wide open across the formation. There was a miscommunication. Kelsey is wide open, and he ends up getting about 20 yards almost and a first down well within the red zone. So we can see it here. Now, we're pretty sure at this point that this is the responsibility right now. Gray with Roberts and Hunt with Queen. So as they move, you can see Roberts is talking. He talks to Elliott. Elliott and Queen talk to each other. But it's unclear who messed what up. And then you see the Chiefs snapped it very quickly after the motion. So, but then both of these guys end up running that way. Kelsey comes free across the middle. Easy play for a big gain for the Chiefs. They get a first down in the red zone. All right, so we're going to hop ahead 2 plays ahead of that last Kelsey catch we just showed you. Now we're at 12:44 to go in the game. The Chiefs are still up 22-10, and they have 2nd and 10 now at the 12-yard line of the Steelers. Let's take a look at this play. So Mahomes in the shotgun. Kelsey motions over from left to right. So Mahomes has 3 receivers now on the right side. He takes the snap, rolls to his right, and flips it to Kelsey toward the back of the end zone for a touchdown. This ended up being Kelsey's touchdown that put him ahead of Tony Gonzalez as the single leader in touchdown receptions in Chiefs franchise history. he ended up dunking the ball through the goalpost to celebrate Tony Gonzalez because that was his signature celebration. But let's look into what happened. The Chiefs come out in 12 personnel. They've got one running back, Kareem Hunt. Their two tight ends are Travis Kelsey and Noah Gray. Their two wide receivers are Juju Smith-Schuster and DeAndre Hopkins. Now, the Steelers are going to run a pretty standard cover 2 here. So they're going to have two deep safeties with deep half responsibilities. And then they're just going to have shallow zones underneath. They're going to have defenders, 5 defenders, just spread out in shallow zones across the underneath areas. So to combat that, what the Chiefs do, what their route combination is they have Noah Gray from this side running an out and up out to the corner. Kareem Hunt goes out to the flat. Actually, he chips first to help and then goes out to the flat. On this side, DeAndre Hopkins ends up running to the corner. Juju Smith-Schuster runs a drag underneath. And then Travis Kelsey comes and vacates into the open area and initially comes and sits. So let's watch this route combination. And the important thing here is there are 2 really important things here, maybe even 3. So the first important thing here is Travis Kelsey kind of slow playing his route. We talked about DeAndre Hopkins doing this earlier on Justin Watson's touchdown to make sure his defender couldn't fall back and get involved in that pass. In this case, Travis Kelsey slow plays this in order for the defense to not think that he is a threat to go into the end zone. Because right now you have 2 deep safeties, each with half responsibilities. So as Kelsey appears to be running more underneath, Minka then keys on DeAndre Hopkins' corner pattern and decides to come over the top of that. That's the guy that's kind of coming into his area. So Minka devotes all his attention over here because he's not seeing any other threat in this part of the end zone because Kelsey slow played things. So the corner pattern was important to draw the defense over. That's 1. 2 is Kelsey slow playing it to allow Minka to key on the corner pattern, not thinking he has any other deep route to worry about. And then 3 is Mahomes scrambling. We talked about Mahomes using his legs to create opportunities. As he comes here, now that Minka has committed, Kelsey sees a void and decides to just pop up into the end zone. The underneath defender passes Kelsey off for 2 reasons. 1, because he thinks he has deep help. And 2, because he sees Mahomes running. And so he's worried about the scramble. So he's not just going to turn and run with Travis Kelsey and leave a bunch of green grass for Mahomes to possibly run. I think most people are assuming that he's going to be able to get away from a one-on-one matchup with a defensive tackle. But at that, Mahomes sees what Kelsey sees. They both see the open void. And look how early Mahomes throws this. Like Kelsey's just clearing the defender and Mahomes is already releasing this ball. Just nothing crazy here. Don't have to lead him anywhere. Just put it on him. Let him turn around and make that catch for a touchdown. Really well done by the Chiefs again. So we can see it from Mahomes' perspective. He drops back. He's challenging, and you can see, look at the defenders looking back at Mahomes. They're worried about the scramble, which helps to create opportunity behind them. And Kelsey catches a touchdown to take the record for the most receiving touchdowns by a Kansas City Chief. So all in all, looking at this, man, the Chiefs passing game was clicking. Mahomes was playing really well. The Chiefs schemed some things nicely. They took advantage of different deficiencies in the Steelers' defense. We didn't have a ton of miscommunication plays on this, which was heartening. It wasn't that the Steelers were just all off. I think that one play where they left Kelsey was the most egregious miscommunication. Like I've explained on this play, I don't think this was as much miscommunication as, Kelsey slow playing things and them kind of using the defender's responsibilities against them, and Mahomes using the threat of the scramble to create a void for Kelsey. But the thing that was most encouraging, I feel like, is guys are getting open against man. And I think that This is a departure from what we have seen the majority of the past 2 years, almost all of last year and then a lot of this year, was the difficulty with getting guys open. Mahomes having to hold the ball. He was able to get the ball out quick today because guys were getting open. He's trusting guys to be where they need to be for the first time, it feels like, in a while. This is extremely promising, and it should give Chiefs fans a lot of hope that we might see this offense really open up and continue to be increasingly prolific throughout the playoffs, which would be fantastic.